Thank you very much for choosing PACIS TV. This is the time for English news. I am Benjamin Kwizera and here are the headlines. On this Friday, the President of the Supreme Court received the oath of judges and court registrars who were recently approved by the High Council of Judiciary. In Cyangugu, the Christians from Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu have continued a retreat dedicated to remembrance of honoring the victims. The activities took place at the BW'IBITEKEREZO Center. In Nyaruguru, at this time as the 32nd commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in April 1994 is being observed, some youth from Nyaruguru district say that they are committed to playing a role in preventing the genocide ideology. In international news, in the United States, the President Donald Trump citizen criticized Iran over its handling of Hormuz Strait in a series of The Truth. Welcome in the news details shortly. All right, thank you very much for choosing PACIS TV and welcome in the news in the details. On this Friday, the President of the Supreme Court, Domitira Mukantaganwa, received the oath of judges and court registers who were recently approved by High Council of the Judiciary. Took the opportunity to urge those who took the oath to demonstrate integrity in their duties and provide quality services to those who seek them. 60 judges and 20 court clerks who were recently approved by the Judicial Council have taken their oaths of the office. In the interview with the PACIS TV, they stated that they are committed to prioritizing quality services delivery as the key pillar in ensuring fair and effective justice. In his remarks, the President of the court urged that sworn-in is uphold integrity and honor the trust that the country has placed in them. The responsibilities of court clerks include recording proceedings, properly managing case files, and supporting the overall functioning of the court, while judges are tasked with delivering justice independently guided by law. In Cyangugu, as Rwanda marks 32nd commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Christians from Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu have continued a retreat dedicated to remembrance and honoring the victim. The activities took place in BW'IBITEKEREZO Center. Participants have been reminded of the importance of promoting unity and love, recognizing that they are all brothers and sisters. This Wednesday theme was, "I will never forget that you are my brother or sister." This message was emphasized during the third day of commemoration retreat held at BW'IBITEKEREZO Center in the Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu. Mugarura Pascal, a Christian from MYAKA Parish, noted that although the day's teaching had been introduced earlier, he appreciated the reminder that they must never forget their shared brotherhood, both by blood and in faith. He added that during the period of remembrance, it is important to reflect deeply on those who lost their lives due to human cruelty. And the time strengthened bonds among living, care one another inside divisions. In the day's teaching delivered by the family of Calixte Kalinishabo and Agnes Kamatari from Nyamata Parish, in the Archdiocese of Kigali, it was emphasized that love is the foundation of true brotherhood. They stressed that one cannot call another brother or sister without genuine love and encouraged Christians to pray for the gift of love. During Holy Mass, led by Father Benjamin Bafakurera, who serves in Nkanga Parish within the Diocese of Cyangugu, Christians were urged to pray for those who struggle, to ask for forgiveness for the wrongs they have committed, as well as for the strength of those who have been wronged, to grant forgiveness. They said is essential in building a Rwanda and a world rooted in peace and mutual understanding. Overall, the message of this third day of the retreat focused on strengthening unity and love, while remembering that all people are brothers and sisters. The theme remains, "I will never forget that you are my brother or sister." In Nyaruguru district, at this time of the 32nd commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in April 1994, Some youth from this district say they are committed to playing a role in preventing and fighting against hate speech and actions that promote genocide ideology, which aim to drag Rwanda back into the dark history of the genocide against the Tutsi in April 1994. Across the country, commemoration activities are ongoing, and in Nyaruguru district, many residents, especially young people, have come together to take part. Youth from Kibeho sector say that reflecting on how young people were heavily involved in carrying out the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, which devastated the nation, they now feel strong responsibility to ensure such history never repeats itself. They emphasized their determination to actively resist genocide ideology and work toward building a country free from division and discrimination, one that cannot be torn about again by hatred. Sididio Habimana, the president of Ibuka in Nyaruguru district, called on residents, particularly the youth, to reject and ignore those spreading of genocide ideology. He also urged them to promote unity and resilience among Rwandans. Local authorities in Nyaruguru echoed this message, reminding young people that their primary responsibility is to build the nation. They stressed that the youth are driving force for the future and play a vital role in preserving country's history and safeguarding national unity. Let's go back in Cyangugu, the genocide perpetrators forgiven by survivors. During a 3-day retreat to commemorate the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi held at Ibanga Ry'Amahoro Center in the Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu, powerful testimonies have emerged from both perpetrators and survivors. Individuals who took part in the genocide and later asked for forgiveness from the families of their victims shared how receiving forgiveness has transformed their lives. They say they now live freely and openly, no longer burdened by the shame and fear that once forced them into hiding. At the same time, those who granted forgiveness affirmed that they too have been relieved of the heavy emotional burdens. Jean-Marie Ruvugundi admits to having killed a relative of Mukakarangwa Vestine during 1994 genocide against the Tutsi after confessing his crimes, asking for forgiveness and completing his sentence through the Gacaca courts. He says reintegrating into the community was extremely difficult. He lived in the constant fear, believing those he had wronged would seek a revenge. Today, through the support of MYAKA Parish and the late Father Obardi Rugirangoga's reconciliation initiatives, he has sought and received forgiveness. He says this act has liberated him and he no longer lives in fear. On her part, Mukarangwa Vestine recalls that when Jean-Marie was released, she was deeply afraid and suspected that he might harm her. Although forgiving him was not easy, she said the teachings she received helped her find the strength to forgive. Today, she confirms that they live side by side in peace without fear or resentment. The Justice and Peace Commission of the Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu continues to build on legacy initiated by Father Obardi Rugirangoga. The reconciliation program has now reached all 22 parishes of the diocese. Councillors involved in the initiative acknowledge that the process is not always easy, as some individuals remain resistant and seeking for forgiveness. However, they emphasize that the effort continues so foster for lasting social harmony. Before we go to international news, let's take a break, then we'll continue later. Yes, welcome in international news. Let's begin in Middle East. The Prime Minister of Israel says there is no ceasefire in Lebanon as Israel pursues talks. On the day 41 of Middle East conflict, the deadly Israel military offensive targeting Tehran-backed Hezbollah has emerged as a critical point of contention surrounding the tenuous U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel wants direct negotiations with Lebanon on disarming Hezbollah and establishing peaceful relations, but said there is no ceasefire currently in place. Lebanese officials say Beirut has not received a formal invitation for talks with one of them. United States President Donald Trump has warned Iran against changing tolls to oil tankers in the key shipping lane. Abu Dhabi's oil chief said the strait is not open as few vessels make it through to the waterway. A U.S. delegation is preparing for talks in Pakistan this weekend on potential long-term deal with Iran. A two-week pause in hostilities appear to be largely holding. Risks go to South Korea. South Korea are ready to send a special envoy to Iran as its ships remain stuck in the Strait of Hormuz. South Korea will send a special envoy to Iran to discuss the safe passage of its vessels through the Strait of Hormuz following a ceasefire agreement between the U.S. and Iran. The foreign minister of Korea said on Friday the country is a key U.S. ally that plays a central role in Indo-Pacific security strategy, and it hosts about 28,000 U.S. troops stationed against North Korea threats. The ministry appointed Chung Byung-ho, its representative for Polar Cooperation and former ambassador of Kuwait, as a special envoy following a phone call a day earlier between South Korea Foreign Minister Cho Hyun and his Iranian counterpart Abbas Abagel. The special envoy plans to travel to Tehran in the coming days, according to the ministry. During the visit, Seoul hopes to exchange views with Iran on the situation in the Middle East and discuss the safety of our national vessels and the crew, as well as issues related to the passage of all ships, the ministry said in the statement. South Korea currently has 26 vessels, including oil tankers, unable to travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping company executives and analysts have said uncertainty surrounding the ceasefire is still making in the strait too risky. In the United States, the President Donald Trump criticized Iran over its handling the Hormuz Strait. President Donald Trump criticizes Iran over its handling of Hormuz Strait. In a series of Truth on social media posts, Trump says Iran is doing a very poor job managing the passage where the 20% of the world's oil passes and warns Tehran against charging fees to tankers going through. It comes as fighting continues between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon, with strikes reported overnight and early Friday. An Iranian minister has told BBC that continued Israel strikes in Lebanon constitute a grave violation of two-week ceasefire, but the U.S. and Israel dispute whether Lebanon is covered by it. It comes ahead of scheduled peace talks in Pakistan over the weekend due to be attended by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Iranian delegation. With the meeting go ahead, not finalized yet, a senior foreign minister official in Tehran tells the CNN. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, but before we go to the end of this news, let's go back to the main headlines. On this Friday, the President of Supreme Court received the oath of judges and court registers who were recently approved by High Council of Judiciary. She took the opportunity to urge those who took the oath to demonstrate integrity in their duties and provide quality services to those who seek them. In Cyangugu, the Christians from Catholic Diocese of Cyangugu have been a retreat dedicated to remembrance and honoring the victim. The activities took place at Ibanga Ry'Amahoro Center. In Nyaruguru district, at this time of the 32nd commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in April 1994 is being observed, some youth from Nyaruguru district say that they are committed to playing a role in preventing and fighting against the hate speech and actions that promote genocide ideology, which aim to drag Rwandans back into the dark history of the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. In international news, we told you that President of the United States, Donald Trump, criticized Iran over its handling of Hormuz Strait in a series of Truth Social posts. Trump says Iran doing a very poor job in managing the passage. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. This is PACIS TV. I am Benjamin Kwizera. Good night.